Hi, a warm welcome to POV. That's my point of view on the Our Media channel. My name is Josiah. Let's start off with an interesting scoreline from the weekend's Premier League games played. The biggest game actually in Europe happened at the Anfield, where Liverpool just welcomed Manchester City to the Anfield for a crunch fixture. And then guess what? After 90 minutes at the Anfield, it was Liverpool that ended up winning by 2-0. So it was Cody Gakpo who got at the end of Mo Salah's cross, and then Mo Salah himself, after Luis Diaz had been chipped in the box by Ortega, and then Mo Salah did justice from 12 yards after missing in midweek against Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League. You remember that wild miss from Mo Salah. Very, unlikely of him. So what happens? Manchester City are in deep trouble now because Pep Guardiola hasn't still found, answers to their recent enigma. And, for Pep Guardiola, it's unprecedented in his entire managerial career. He's never gone 7 games without a win. But what does the scoreline mean to their title-winning ambitions? Let's take a close look at that. So, after that defeat, it means that Liverpool have opened up an 11-point gap between themselves and season favorites or favorites to win the Premier League, that Manchester City. And now Manchester City would have to win 4 games on the bounce with their current form, considering all things being equal, and then Liverpool would have to lose 4 on the bounce for City to overtake them. But guess what? City do not even find themselves in the top 4 for the first time in a long while, because the top 4 has Liverpool, it has Chelsea, it has Arsenal, and then Brighton and Hove Albion, a surprise inclusion over there. So we're talking about the fact that what is happening to Pep Guardiola and then also Manchester City. Because Pep Guardiola, yes, we've seen him lose games during his days at Barcelona. We saw him lose games during his time at Bayern Munich as well. But this has never happened in, the history of Pep Guardiola's managerial career. For him to lose 6 games and go 7 games without a single win tells you that they find themselves in some serious trouble. Then it takes us back to the words of former Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag during his appointment, and his first ever interview granted when he signed to be manager of Manchester United at the Old Trafford. Guess what he said? He said eras do come to an end. But unfortunately, he couldn't stay to witness an era come to an end, which is Pep Guardiola's era. But the question is that, is Pep Guardiola's Manchester City coming to the end of an era, or are we witnessing the end of one of the greatest eras we've ever seen in the history of the Premier League? Because under Pep Guardiola, this Manchester City team has won the Premier League title 6 times in the last 8 seasons. And then also, guess what they did? It was unprecedented. No team, and I repeat, no team in the history of the Premier League has won the title 4 times on a bounce. But Pep Guardiola comes into the Premier League, a feat that only Sir Alex Ferguson has done twice, and he asked Sir Alex Ferguson to hold his beer, and he wins 4 on a bounce. And they were aiming for their 5th title, but unfortunately, you look at the trend now, and it doesn't look like Manchester City have got what it takes to bounce back from that defeat. So you're looking at players who struggled on the day at Anfield. Yes, there was Bernardo Silva, there was Erling Haaland, and even Kevin De Bruyne was gifted a ball on a platter by Virgil van Dijk, and all he could do was just shoot straight at Kelleher. So it means that it's not just about the players not being good enough or tactically not being inclined enough, but at this point you'll be thinking that whatever is happening to Manchester City goes beyond the drawing board. Perhaps it could be the psyche of the players, or perhaps it could be spiritual, something we both cannot see with our naked eyes. But there's clearly something wrong with Manchester City. But then should we just revisit the words of Ten Hag and say, oh yes, yeah, he said it. Yeah, despite the fact that he's a bad coach, he really predicted this Manchester City era to come to an end. So you could also have your say in the comment section. Do you think it's the end of the road for Pep Guardiola? Do you think it's about time he just stepped down as manager of Manchester City?